Hello Gemini, it is time for your December general tarot reading. I've got your cards pulled and we'll be starting with the Vampyre Phantasmagoria deck. I don't have the box with me, but this is what the back of the cards look like. We'll go ahead and get started. We have the Temperance card, the Queen of Knives, the Ace of Skulls, the Four of Knives, the Two of Knives, Three of Knives, the Ace of Knives, the Nine of Grails, the Eight of Scepters, and the Moon card. And let me see. Temperance is actually Sagittarius, and the moon, of course, is Pisces. So I will put that in the notes. I'll also add in the notes what like knives to swords, skulls would be Pentacles, and Scepters is wands and things of that nature, just in case that is helpful for someone. We've been getting Temperance a lot in some various readings. Of course, I mentioned this is Sagittarius, so you may wish to also watch the Sagittarius reading. But Temperance has been coming up a lot as far as being measured and not just like patience or measured, but somewhere between that and balance, like not overdoing anything. I guess that's more so it is not overdoing anything, not becoming so obsessive about something that you don't see the bigger picture. With the Queen of Knives, we can see that there's a crow sitting on the back of her chair, and for some reason that makes me think of wisdom. She's also, and I think I've called this out before, where there's some scrolls, like if you were to take a snail shell and cut it down the center, how it spirals out. And it's like things, not just that it spirals out, but also the fact that things take time. And the Queen of Knives is like feminine logic, but it's also very, I want to say, patient. We also have the Ace of Skulls, which is coming out at the beginning of a new cycle as it comes to possessions and manifestation and things of that nature. And then with the Four of Knives, this is actually, this is air, of course, but there's also a dagger here in the background that has the Libra symbol on it. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little hard to see. That's also stabbed into a crow. I did not notice that before, but that's where the dagger is. And it's, I really didn't notice that before, but so we start with this card and there's the crow sitting on her shoulder and she's holding the knife here. And then we have the Ace of Skulls, and then we have her here with the crow kind of sacrificed. And it's like, I feel like these are different perspectives of her before and after, one being angelic and one being more so human. There's also a symbol in the background, and I'm just going to look that up really quick in my book here. It is the symbol for Jupiter, so I would check your Jupiter placement. We then have the Two of Knives, and he's blindfolded. His eyes have been removed. Again, there's a Libra symbol here in the corner. And he's holding two 2 daggers. The thing that's interesting about this, and when I was running through the cards initially, we have the Ace of Knives, which is the beginning of a new way of thinking. We have the 2 of Knives here, where he's blind, but it's almost like justice being blind. And this is relating to shadow side. We then have the 3 of Knives. And on this one, again, we have Libra on the tombstone back here. And there's crows in all of these. And there's actually another symbol on this one, which is, where did I see that? On her necklace. And again, that is Jupiter. So definitely check your Jupiter placement. And there's 3 crows in this card. Come here, baby. So we have so the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this. All of them are Libra. So we definitely have Libra coming through really strongly in this, but it's not the Justice card. So it's not, I don't think it is actually a Libra person, but more so the background energy of balance that needs to come in, which I think plays well with Temperance. But it also is taking time, and that's not a bad thing. It's not something to be rushed. I will also say that this is more so a thought process, and it's coming out with the Ace of Skulls, the new manifestation. I feel like this is more so manifesting a new way of thinking. But it's really a process, and this is speaking to the process that you're going through, but it's like the Temperance specifically relates to not overdoing it, because you are working through this and it is coming slowly, and there's that tendency to want to rush things. And if you get pulled into that, it's the current is will pull you away from what you actually want. So the key to this is having patience with yourself, with your way of thinking, with your growing into that, because the harder you struggle against it, the harder you will have to struggle. With the 9 of Grails, wow. So I mentioned before there was a symbol, and that was Jupiter, and that has been brought out. I want to say that was in here twice. Then we also have another symbol on the 9 of Grails, and you can see it right here. And that is Jupiter again. So Jupiter's come up 3 times in this reading. We've had Libra come up 3 times in this reading. There's also Pisces on this card. And it is, so Libra and Pisces energy is very strong. So you're probably, and of course we have the Moon card, which is Pisces again. And then there's a couple of different phases of the moon here, which may be a reference to when you will start experiencing this, which is when we're either dealing with a waning or waxing crescent, is what I feel like. But definitely check your Jupiter placement. I can't say that strongly enough. We then have another reference to Sagittarius. with the 8 of Scepters, which is the 8 of Wands. And this is about struggle. So it's like, again, I mean, this reading is kind of redundant in that it keeps referencing make room for temperance and balance. Because the more that you fight against the new way of thinking, the more you're going to struggle. So, and I feel like because we've had the Nine of Grails and a lot of swords in here, it's like you are fighting against, your heart and headspace are fighting against each other, and that's part of it. But it's like the balance that you need to strike is between head and heart. And the more you make space for that, no matter as hard as that may feel for you, the more you make space for the Pisces energy, the water energy, the easier this will be. I will clarify, because there's a lot of head space in here, and I'd like to clarify a little bit about why you are having a hard time in the head space as far as the way that you are thinking. Wow, so I just got a real big chunk of cards, and I don't have time to read them all, but I will tell you that the Death card was at the bottom of the stack that flipped over, which we kind of already touched on, this being the beginning of a new cycle. So in order for a new cycle to begin, we have to have death or the close of a previous cycle. But I would like to clarify this headspace. All right. So we have the Two of Grails, which is Cancer, and there's the symbol for the feminine energy in the background. We also have a panther here. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but on his shoulder is the Cancer symbol. And then the feminine is marked down here. I don't know if you can see that. So Cancer is again a water sign, which is speaking to the emotions. But there's also a balance of masculine and feminine in this. So I feel like in this case, especially Gemini, this is your masculine and feminine, your head versus heart, and you are fighting against yourself in this context. And the more that you fight against yourself, the more you're going to have this, the more you're going to have struggle. The Sagittarius energy that's referenced here, which is in temperance, I feel like this fiery energy is about the way that you're struggling right now. It's like a passionate space. It is very fiery. It is very energetic. Good sir. Little boyo just walked up here. You have to make space for your masculine and your feminine. You can't try to do this all on one side, one way. You need balance between that. And when you strike the balance between head and heart, that's when you're going to find passion and joy, and it's really going to be a beautiful thing for you. Gemini, I hope this was helpful. I know that there's a lot of repetition in this reading, but I just feel like you are struggling so hard against it, and the more you push against it, the more painful the transition is. It's like being on the rapids in like a kayak or something, and trying to row upstream instead of letting it carry you downstream and just steering. I hope that makes sense. I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you have a wonderful month of December, Gemini.